What's going on, Vikings fans? Skol back again with another offseason video. As you guys, I don't know if you guys have actually heard about this, but in the news, our stud young wide receiver Justin Jefferson has a little beef with another young stud wide receiver in A.J. Brown. Kind of got into it over Twitter. They're kind of talking some smack to each other. They're doing this versus thing together. I'm going to be breaking it down, giving my opinion. Obviously, I'm a little more biased towards Jay Jets. He's our guy. Anyways, if you guys are new here, please subscribe to the channel. Almost at 1K. We are so close. I think like 40 subs away. We're doing a giveaway at 1K. Huge giveaway for the channel. Anyways, I'm going to be breaking down the Jefferson, A.J. Brown kind of beef they have going on and kind of give you my thoughts on it. Obviously, this is all fun and games. I don't think they're that serious about this. I think they have respect for each other. I'm going to be giving you guys my thoughts on it. Anyways, like the video, comment down below. Jefferson, A.J. Brown, they got beef. Okay, so this may have had to do with DK and Justin Jefferson and Chad Ochocinco. They were all sitting down, and you know how Chad Ochocinco kind of does he kind of like calls out receivers, young receivers in the NFL, and he kind of has them come and they do one-on-ones. They talk about football. They talk about routes, talk about ways to get better. I think it's great for young receivers to go there. I was thrilled to see Jefferson went there. I think it's great for his development. Anyways, Jefferson and DK, they were asked to list their top 5 receivers. Obviously, they're there. Obviously, DK is next to Jefferson. Obviously, Jefferson's next to DK. They're both in each other's list. However, A.J. Brown, I guess, took it a little hard that he was left off Jefferson's list. And, you know, we could debate top 5 receivers all we want in the league, but Jefferson's list, I believe it was Julio 1, might have been him, or might have been Devontae 2, himself 3, D-Hop 4, and maybe DK 5. I think that's might have what it been. Because I know they had each other on the list. Jefferson did leave Diggs out. I was a little shocked on that. I know they have a respect for each other. Anyways, Jefferson was kind of talking smack about A.J. Brown, and the quote is, he says, A.J. didn't have nearly as many yards as I had in my first year. And then A.J. responded with that, and he says, I'm a fan, no lie. You doing 1,400 yards is great, but you getting like 10 targets a game. Give me 10 targets. Okay, so I think this is pretty funny. Mainly because if you guys know as Vikings fans, the entire year we're screaming at Kubiak, hey, get 18 the ball. Get this young stud receiver we have the ball. Get him the ball more. And the AJ, I mean, this could have just been A.J. Brown not understanding or not really looking into it, but it's funny how the person who led the league in targets or in yards per target was the rookie Justin Jefferson. So AJ's argument is, hey man, like if I had the same amount of targets you had, or if I was in the same system as you, I would be getting 1,400 yards too. That may be true. If he was in Minnesota system and he was with us, he might be doing the same thing. But I just love how this is like kind of flipped on its head now with AJ. It's like, oh, Diggs this whole year was coming out and saying like, oh, he left because he didn't like the philosophy, he didn't like the formula, he didn't like the offense in Minnesota because it's too run heavy. Diggs felt like he should have got more targets and all that. He ended up leaving, bringing Jefferson, and now AJ Brown is talking kind of smack to Jefferson, and he's like, yeah, man, but like you had all these targets and that's why you're getting all these yards. I think that's just hilarious. It's almost like flipped around. I mean, could you imagine what Jefferson's numbers would have been if you would have had Diggs' targets this year? I think Diggs had around, I think it was 55 more targets than Justin Jefferson this year, and the difference in yards was only around like 200. I mean, that's incredible if you think about it in that way. Jefferson obviously dominated yards per target this year, and I just think this is really good for Justin Jefferson and A.J. Brown. And yeah, they kind of got this little beef going on. They're probably going to be talking smack at the versus thing tonight. But I think it's good. I think it's good for Jefferson. I think it's good for the NFL. You know, you can have your opinions on Chad Ochocinco. He's obnoxious. He's outspoken too much. He's this, he's that, he's that. But what he's kind of doing for these young receivers in the NFL is he's kind of making them grow up quick. And by what I'm saying is Jefferson just came on the year and he just had a great season. And you already kind of see him and guys like DK talking and comparing themselves to guys like Julio and D-Hop. And in years past in the NFL, it was really hard for a rookie receiver to kind of hit the limelight, hit the main stage, and then stay there. I mean, we saw with OBJ out of LSU, just like Jefferson, he kind of had that rookie year where he dominated. He was great. And then he kind of started slowly drifting away, as we've seen in past years. Still really skilled, but it's kind of tough for wide receivers to maintain their name and maintain consistency because it has a lot to do with quarterback, has a lot to do with targets, of course, like A.J. Brown was trying to mention. There's a lot that goes into being a good receiver in the NFL, because I thought it was also very interesting. Jefferson and A.J. Brown, or Jefferson and DK Metcalf, they both had Julio as number 1. And Julio wasn't near the top in targets, touchdowns, receptions, yards, whatever you want to name. He wasn't near the top of all of that. But it shows how these other young receivers have such a respect for a guy like Julio Jones, who maybe has not gotten the opportunity as a guy like Stephon Diggs has in Buffalo, or a guy like Devontae Adams has had in Green Bay, not taking away anything from those two. But I just think their point is there's more to receiver than just targets and yards. You know, if you're saying, like, if you're building the perfect basketball player, you know, compare this to other sports, you want him to shoot, you want him to be physical, you want him to jump, you want to have, like, obviously jump shot, handles, you know, you want your guy to be complete. And with what they're saying is, yes, Diggs and Adams, great route runners, but the amount of yards they put up has a lot to do with their quarterback and a lot to do with their system. And they're saying if Julio was in that system, it'd be night and day. Kind of what like A.J. Brown is saying about Jefferson. Anyways, this was kind of like a fun beef. I just wanted to break down to you guys, kind of tell you guys what's going on. Very interesting to check out for you Vikings fans. I'd go watch the video. Chad Ochocinco, DK Jefferson. Just look it up on YouTube. Very interesting to watch. They do one-on-ones. They talk about football. They talk about routes. They talk about everything. It's fairly interesting. Little beef between A.J. Brown and Justin Jefferson. They're going to be going at it tonight on a versus thing, I believe. Anyways, fun to watch, fun to follow along. And you guys, if you guys are new here, please subscribe. I try to keep you guys updated with every Vikings news, what I think you guys should be interested in. And that's what I'm here for. Anyways, leave a like on the video, comment down below. Skol Vikes. This is going to be a long off season. Let's get into it together. See you guys next time. Peace.